And that was my 2 minutes of modeling, starting out our edition of Talk Vietnam this week, coming to you from the central coastal city of Da Nang. Now this edition, as you probably guessed, is all about diving into the world of fashion, but not just any type of fashion. It's a combination of high fashion and beautiful elements handcrafted by the women of the Cơ Tu ethnic group here in Quảng Nam province. In this edition, we'll get a chance to learn all about the brains behind these beautiful designs. Her name is Ava, and she's the brains behind Avana.
Aldegonde Van Asnoy, or Ava, as she's lovingly known in Vietnam, hails from the city of Antwerp, Belgium. Ava prospered as a prominent high-end fashion designer back in her hometown. Her ventures from Antwerp to many locations around the world brought her first to Vietnam in 2005, where she settled down and launched her own ready-to-wear boutique called Avana in Hoi An Town in 2010. 2 years later, in 2012, a project with the International Labour Organization saw her explore the weaving handicrafts of a local Cơ Tu village, from which a weaving cooperative and an ethnic/edgy vibe fashion collection were born.
The eclectic mixing between high couture, high fashion, as well as the ethnic minority culture here in the country. That's the styling as we've seen behind our fashion designer and featured guest of Talk Vietnam today, Ava. She's joining us here on our show to share more about her journey of creating this very beautiful designs that combines different elements from both Vietnam and West. Hello, Ava.
Hey.
Thank you very much for joining us. Can you share with us a little bit about your latest designs? What are the inspiration behind them?
For me, to set up some kind of collection, it always starts with one simple thing, a beautiful fabric. So it's really important for me to, while I'm traveling, to discover small markets with amazing fabrics, or to go to factories where they make handmade fabrics, or it can be any fabric I stroll around. It could be also a fabric that is used for curtains, or it could be a fabric that's like a carpet. So it's just strolling and strolling through piles of fabrics and bring them down, and then we start to design. You know, look at the fabrics, look at the colors, bring the colors together, and then look for a shape. And from then onwards, I have a dress or a garment. We bring it inside the collection. So when it arrives then in the collection, it feels like, oh my God, I need some more color. It looks a bit dull, or I need more brightness. I go back to the fabrics and I restart redesigning. So the collection grows organic. It's something that grows from the fabric.
Tell us about the name behind your brand, Avana. Does this name hold any special meaning for you?
Oh, it's only my name. It's Aldegonde Van Alsenoy. So my full name is quite long. So it's the initials, partly of the words. But here locally, my name Aldegonde was quite hard to memorize and to pronounce. So people call me Ava here.
Can you tell us about the group of women artisans who are from the Cơ Tu ethnic minority, as we understand, who are behind some of these, the pieces that are used in your clothing?
The group of women, they live not far away from Da Nang, so it's like 3 hours drive. We got to know each other now, let's say 6 years ago. It was very special because we visited a few villages, but the moment we entered the Rong, it was mystifying, the ambience, the energy between the ladies when they were showing their fabrics, when they were showing their skills. There was immediately a group feeling, and they were very proud of each other's work. So there was this kind of collegiality, there was this kind of friendliness towards to us, because I did this with another co-designer, Nele. We were so welcomed and so inspired. So it was immediately, okay, here, this is the place where we would like to start a cooperation.
Yes. If I may ask about that very first trip, what about the women? What did they show you, and what feelings did you have about learning about their fabric and the way of their crafting?
Yeah, It's interesting because in the West or even in Asia, all the clothing that are made for daily use, and what you maybe want to show off, it's because you wear it every day. While in the mountains, the ladies, when they get married, they have the relationship with their mother-in-law. They want to make fabrics for her, to make her happy. So they're weaving constantly beautiful fabrics so their mother-in-law will look beautiful and stunning. So when they showed us, they were not selling these fabrics because it's their private collection. So it's not something that they commercialized at that stage. They were just showing us what they have been making to make the community beautiful and to make themselves and their family members beautiful. Yeah.
What initially brought you to the community?
It was just a small talk with some of the officials of ELO at that time. And they were talking about these weaving villages, and I told my background story, and they got to know that I have a huge experience in hand weaving back in my time when I was living in the West. Those days I worked with mountainous peoples from close to the Iraq border. They were refugees, arrived in Belgium, and they had not so many job opportunities. So we set up a workshop together with them, and we started as well creating beautiful clothes and accessories. So what happened then when I arrived here, for us it was so easy to sit down with it. First of all, they were amazing artisans. They were very creative themselves. So to sit down together with them, it was so natural, so organic. It went so easy in a way. They were so eager to do something different. And they were also open on this time not to share only with their family. They were also interested to set up a business with one main goal. They wanted to have a bit more opportunities for the children. So they felt like, okay, we want to open our craft to the rest of Vietnam and maybe also to the rest of the world. And by creating and becoming a business group. And it's very nice because it means also for them that they succeeded there. So that's already one step further. They have now their extra income to take care of their children.
I'm in the beautiful countryside of Quang Nam province, just about 80 kilometers outside of Hoi An. Here it is the village of the Cơ Tu ethnic people, the Darong village. It is here that Ava has been coming to for the past 6 years. The people here do traditional brocade weaving, creating beautiful garments such as this. And this is what is the inspiration for Ava behind the brand Avana.
The entrance of the village itself greets visitors with this colorful sight. Here for generations, girls have been learning how to weave since as early as 7 or 8 years of age. Brocade weaving, beyond being a local craft, is highly regarded in the Cơ Tu social and spiritual life. Up until 6 years ago, the craft had never been commercialized.
Trước đây á, là theo cái truyền thống của người Cơ Tu dệt vải á, là nói chung thì trước đây cũng không bán nhiều, nhưng mà mình làm là chủ yếu mình tặng cho bạn bè hoặc là con cháu của mình ở trong nhà, ví dụ như đi thăm hỏi này kia thì mình mang cái sản phẩm đó là mình tặng quà cho bà con anh em của mình. Thì màu mã thì chủ yếu là nhiều màu đen, màu đỏ là ít hơn đó, theo màu sắc truyền thống của người Cơ Tu.
It was here that Ava worked as a consultant in 2012 for the International Labour Organization to help promote Cơ Tu brocade and provide weavers with a sustainable income from their traditional craft. Ava worked with the originally 18 artisans to formulate a brand and develop more diverse designs.
Của Ava thiết kế cho mấy chị em tổ hợp tác ở đây. Đây là màu mã của Ava, còn cườm hoa văn này là của Ava thiết kế hết. Còn như thế này cũng giống như cái này cũng của Ava thiết kế đây này. Còn mấy chị em á, làm được, còn cái cườm này làm được, mà cái màu mã này là màu mã của Ava thiết kế cho mấy chị em ở đây. Còn người Cơ Tu mình chỉ có như thế này thôi. Đây là của hoa văn của người Cơ Tu mình làm cườm đó. Cái màu đen nó nhiều cho nó đẹp để, mà cái màu đỏ này là hoa văn này là cho nó phối màu cho nó đẹp.
A business group or cooperative named after the local traditional dance, Cơ Tu Ya was formed in 2013. The women artisans were assisted in adopting more professional techniques to assist their work.
Bữa là hay của Ava phải chườm nô thiết kế màu nô
Ava taught us new designs. She taught us how to count the threads and how to keep count of the beading work.
Trước đây tôi không biết mình đo cái thước này như thế nào. Cứ dệt liền liền nữa đó. Như áo của tôi mặc này này. Không đo, không biết cái gì hết, lấy cái cây. Mình bẻ cái cây mình đo. Còn tới lượt qua va lấy cái thước mét cho mình đo cái nô ni đó là cm này. Từ đây tới đây là 35 cm.
Back then, Ava would come to the village every fourth night to work with the artisans. She has still regularly visited the village during the past 6 years.
So Ava, do you remember kind of the village life here when you first came here? It was like 6 years ago.
Yeah, it was really when you live in Hoi An and suddenly start entering the mountains, they go higher and higher, and you come in this beautiful rustic village where children curious, sometimes surprised, maybe sometimes crying to see a foreigner. Yeah, they're welcoming you. The hospitality is so part of their culture. It was very, very special, very warm. Yeah.
What impressed you the most about the community here?
It's like, of course, there are many villages that looks maybe a little bit similar, but then you walk through the village, in every doorstep there was somebody doing crafts. So a woman was weaving, old man was making baskets, then how they produce the food. Everything was so manually. Everything was done by hand.
And one of the things that impressed you, of course, is the
The
weaving.
weaving, yes. It was very special for me. It's a really interesting element. It's like they can just roll it up and walk and go somewhere else. So you see them sitting in groups and sitting down and talking, and then 5 minutes later they walk up, they go to their home, and then they cook a bit, and then they keep on weaving. It's really easy. Their looms, they're not fixed on a place. And then whatever they weave, you see as well on they wear it as their outfits. So it's like you can already interpret what's going to happen with the fabrics. Yeah, and it's also very nice because they make all their own designs. So it's like they're their own designers. So they have their own skills. So they will have different fabrics every 2 months to show to their mothers-in-law. Yeah.
Alongside helping the cooperative to develop their own brand, Ava also makes orders from the women artisans for her own brand, Avana. Elements such as these can take the women 2 to 3 months to make, but the women are thrilled their products are reaching customers.
Từ đây thì có cô Ava cũng vừa đặt hàng là vừa cô thiết kế mẫu mã luôn cho mình nữa, là ví dụ như mẫu mã thì cô thiết kế cái nào mà khách ví dụ nước ngoài họ thích thì cô thiết kế dùm cho mình, là mình được làm cái sản phẩm đó là bán ra thị trường là rất là mừng.
Years of working alongside one another have also given the cooperative's members the chance to develop business skills.
Bản thân tôi, cô Ava lên đây thì cô Ava đã dạy cho là bên tính toán, bên tính công của mấy chị, tính ngày công, tính tiền dệt của mấy chị, tính sản phẩm của mấy chị. Từ khi cô Ava lên đây thì các chị ở đây bán cũng tốt, bán cho khách du lịch.
I have been able to have more income to help my family, getting the basic things in our house, like rice, salt, and the condiments to cook food. When I grow older, I want to be able to pass on this craft to my children so that they will carry on the tradition and also have extra income for their livelihood. The introduction of the cooperative has been meaningful to the community as the cooperative shares their profits with the entire village.
Làm ở đây là tốt, đó là về khuyến khích bà con phát triển về kinh tế, tính chất cùng là vừa xóa đói giảm nghèo để phát triển. Tức là trước kia là bà con nào là thanh niên phụ nữ chưa có lên nương làm rẫy thôi, cuốc ruộng, nhưng bữa nay là tức là một số là như chị em ở đó là để dệt vải này, dệt vải cà tu, tức là để cùng bán ra có các nơi.
Spending time with them, what did you think about their culture?
I have to say, like, especially when we set up the business group, I'm very impressed with the village community thinking. Like there is of course individuality because they want to make beautiful things and want to be beautiful and be creative. But the thing how they think as a group and support each other and help each other, it was for me opened my mind a lot. There were moments that we were sitting down and like, look, you have to decide a bit when you start to have income, how to divide the income. And some of the group members, they have like more experience, they weave faster, they make less mistakes. Do you want to make a difference in maybe the money they will receive? And there was no discussion on it. It was like, no, we do this together. We work together, we share together, we do this all together. And that was for me really inspiring, like something for the community, but not only for the group that's weaving, they would also share with the whole communities. Yeah.
When did you decide that you would incorporate these different Kotu weaving and their designs into kind of your own designs and newer designs, contemporary ones?
The main reason that we were invited to work in the village was to give them a sustainable income. So at that stage we worked first to help them to make their own little collection. So at the moment that they were able to make their own collection and had like a small retail opportunity in the mountains and sell their own collection to other retail shops, then I felt like, okay, it's time to move in. And now we can also do some small productions. So because the fabric is, to make a full garment out of a hand-woven fabric is quite hard because it's very labor intensive. So then we always would think about how to mix. Then it's getting interesting because then you can mix 2 cultures, 3 cultures, you can bring it all together. So we have been looking at their original iconography, their color palette, the mixing of colors, but then we looked like, how can we do this in another way? That it's still close to the culture, but it looks more, a bit more Western, or it looks more, modern, or, but still you feel like, oh, but it's an ethnical fabric, but there is something happened there. So it's this interesting mix,
How difficult was that process? What challenges did you face in kind of incorporating these designs, which are normally very traditional, but into designs that would satisfy the taste of more contemporary consumers?
Because I do this such a long time, so we started in Belgium when I was like 25, so many years have passed, so it's like, it comes very natural for me. So I do have learned through all these years to look at fabrics in a certain way, to look at hand-woven fabrics in a certain way. Plus I do this also with another designer, so you bring, and maybe I should not forget them, themselves are so creative themselves as well. So I was inspired by them, then they are inspired by me, and then they keep on creating. And then I'm re-inspired by them because they use colors in a way that I was like, oh my God, you do it, that's an interesting color combination. So again, you kind of, work all together in a way. So, and it's really important that you need be able to pick out the nice
wonderful.
results.
Yes, it all goes back to the community working together, not only in the process of physically crafting, but also brainstorming ideas.
Havana stores, now in Hoi An, Hue and Da Nang, carry the same eclectic vibe of tribal and contemporary art. Her most recent concept store in Da Nang features not only Havana's designs, but also works of other local designers, spanning from clothing to accessories. The setting up of the store itself was in collaboration with Ho Chi Minh City artist Quốc Dân, deriving inspiration from the ethnic culture in Vietnam.
Alongside Havana, you also have the brand Couture, which is a very wonderful wordplay between Ketu and couture, in terms of high fashion. Tell us about this brand. How has it been received in Belgium?
Couture is a cooperation between me and Nele de Blok. She's a textile designer and she lives in Portugal at this stage. She's also Belgian. So she's the one that kind of promotes and shows the collections around Europe. So at the moment we have this, it's shown on international high-end clothing fairs. We had last year in a beautiful concept store in Antwerp, a small collection presented, and we heard from the owners that it it took like 2-3 weeks and the whole collection was sold. Wow. So the people in the West really enjoy the collection we're making together.
What do you think the European customers value the most in kind of the designs that are on offer from couture?
The craftsmanship, everybody knows that it's disappearing. It's almost like finding a piece that survived it. So it's like that and then they can have it for many years. Yeah.
Exactly.
And I do think with a craft piece, you feel a person behind the item. They know this person has spent hours and hours hand weaving. So it's really, with a love for hand weaving, it's really, you meet a person and a product while you purchase an item. Yeah.
You know, the motto behind your kind of designing is sustainable fashion. Mm-hmm. Can you elaborate a little bit, about this term and about this motto?
For me, it's like, of course, you want your brand to be sustainable, but I think you would like to leave green footprints behind you. So, and that makes that you make also a bit of sustainable world. So we work mostly with recycled fabrics, or we make fabrics in small quantities where there is no. I will reuse the cuts out and reuse it and make collages with other clothing. So there is almost no waste in these collections. And then what is important is that we work family-based. So we're not part of mass producing, so we work with small family enterprises. So they are, when we work with them, again, there is this learning process. We do small sewing productions, or we make shoes or bags. So we learn from each other, and again, this family grows up as well. I learn from them, and I learn a lot of things. So then, the sustainability is to help this local community to keep on making their small enterprises successful. Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
It's about supporting small communities
Yes.
and directly the craftsmanship. So I know that one of the special things that you do is you create one-off pieces. No two pieces of clothing in your store are exactly the same. Mm-hmm. So how difficult is it to do this, and why do you prefer to create such rare and unique pieces?
Sometimes it's just because I only have a limited fabric available, so it's sometimes just because what it is. But let's say I do have like 10 meters, then I still don't want to make two the same. I will make with the same fabric maybe another shape. But it's just something in me, I think, why would I make something the same? It feels like boring. And then again, when the people come in, I feel like they come in to look at the collection, they will, because they're all individual pieces, I think each person will find this one item that belongs to this person, and that will make him feeling amazing. But then it's also sometimes really strange. I feel sometimes sad when they walk out, because there is only this one dress and it goes out there and it's gone, and I never can make it again. So it's like this, it's almost like a little piece of artwork that you make, and you find some time to think over, and then you show it to, and then it's gone.
It's gone, but now you have, your artworks all over the world.
Yeah.
Ava has described herself once as a fabric freak. It is no doubt that her studio is always filled with an array of different types of fabric ranging from all parts of the world. Her design thought process mixes and matches of the Gaudu brocade elements into these fabrics, creating mini explosions of colors, patterns, and material on each final piece.
Growing up, how did you develop a love for fashion, textile, and fabric?
I think it's this desire to be unique as well as a person. You look, when you're young, or even now, for clothes that represents your personality or makes you a little bit different than the other ones. So clothing has been for a young age for me also to express myself. But then I was lucky to study at the Art Academy of the city of Antwerp, and we have a very famous fashion department there. So my friends, they were studying fashion. So I got suddenly in this group of people making clothing, so my eyes opened up, like, what is this? I was a photographer, so I was going to the fashion shows in Paris. Then, because of the work that I started to do, they were people who had no job, but they were amazing hand weavers. Suddenly, these years of love for fabrics and for trying to do something unique, I could bring it together. I just had to phone my friends who were working with famous fashion designers. Could you try to ask the designer to work with the refugees and make some pieces together, and it went so fast. It suddenly I had a fashion house. It was not something that was planned. It just grown again organic. It was something that just happened. So, and then I have the love for fabric grow even more.
What do you think about fabric inspires you so much?
First of all, you should, with your hands, I would love everybody to walk through the store with their eyes closed. The fabric should feel amazing. It should just, the texture, the softness, or even the roughness, it should have a story, only the touch of a fabric. Then, of course, the print, or it should, yeah, you want to feel, yeah, visually. You also, when you at the fabric side choosing most of the time, you know there's somebody who has been very creative to create a print on the fabric. Then back to the weaving, how when it's only a woven fabric where there's no print, look at the textures in the weft, like all the different levels when you make a woven fabric. But then also really important for me is the energy a fabric gives. Like some fabrics, it's like standing in front in the wardrobe. You're like, I feel happy today. So the energy that the fabric gives to you. And then I found with fabrics also really important that it should be not like, oh, this fabric is for a woman, this fabric is for a man, or this is for an old person, this is for a young person. I like that it's a kind of a universal fabric that you don't think in squares. It has, it has this thing like it's for everybody, and it's beautiful for everybody. Yeah.
This is a typical photo shoot for Ava's new collection in Havana. Giudice Marinella, a stylish hailing from fashion capital Milano, has been working with Ava since the beginning.
I think she has a lot of fantasy and she works with everything. This is the big thing about Ava. It's my style. It's about this I working with her. I love the funky style, the high quality funky style. Very nice, very easy for everybody and for every size. This is very important.
Not only are they free size, Ava's clothes are also designed to be gender neutral and multifunctional. Some pieces can be worn a variety of ways.
Nếu như bạn có một cái bộ đồ của Ava thì giống như mỗi lần cái tâm trạng của mình như thế nào đấy thì mình có thể khoác nó và mặc nó hoặc là kết hợp nó theo một kiểu khác nhau. Thì nó khá là hay, trong cái kiểu đó nó trở thành một cái bộ đồ hoàn toàn khác biệt.
The ethnic vibe in the collection inspires photographers like Toàn.
Trong cái thiết kế trang phục của Havana có những cái họa tiết của dân tộc Cơ Tu của Quảng Nam, Đà Nẵng thì mình thấy nó rất là thú vị, cái gì đó nó rất là Việt Nam nhưng lại có thể hòa nhập với cái gì đó chung của thời trang của thế giới mà mọi người rất là có một cái gì đó rất là thu hút, rất là thú vị.
Ava also makes it a point to work with amateur models to create a sense of closeness in her collections to normal consumers.
Mình thích một cái là Ava rất là gọi là gì, rất là cổ vũ cho những phụ nữ mạnh mẽ, độc lập, và bà ấy cũng là một người có cá tính như vậy nữa. Có cá tính rất là mạnh mẽ và rất là táo bạo.
Ava đang là một phần nhỏ để góp phần vào cái ngành công nghiệp thời trang của Việt Nam trở nên màu sắc hơn, trở nên đa dạng hơn về phong cách, về chất liệu, về kết hợp giữa những phong cách truyền thống và hiện đại kết hợp chung với nhau, làm cho không chỉ riêng người nước ngoài đến Việt Nam mà ngay cả người Việt Nam cũng nhận ra rằng là đồ của Việt Nam bây giờ Make in Việt Nam vẫn rất là đáng tự hào.
What initially brought you to Vietnam? When was this?
This is a bit of a sad story on my business in Europe. We were not sustainable. So we had this little idea, maybe we could set up weaving productions with other countries. So Vietnam was one of my dreams to go and travel in. So I made, it was also because of a friend of mine was living here. No, I think I saw beautiful images before by colleague photographers who have been traveling in Vietnam. saw amazing movies on your culture, and I also wanted to discover the craft of weaving in Vietnam.
What was your impression on the craft of weaving of Vietnam when you first, you said you traveled to many different parts of the country to find out about the craft of weaving here?
I think it's so diverse, it's so stunning. It's like, and you still find it everywhere. It's for me it was very impressive to see.
Do you remember the moment that you decided that you would come here and live?
Yes, I remember. It was I did close down my company, and I needed to do something totally different. So it was like, and I did fall in love with the man. So I thought like, okay, I buy one-way ticket and let's give it a try and let's go to Vietnam. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about your family here. This is your 12th year.
Yes.
In Vietnam. Yes. You've been here for a long time. Yes. How is it kind of building up your family here? Both of your children were actually born in Vietnam.
Yeah. Both in Da Nang City, that's correct, yeah. I think having children is first of all amazing, but having children is also like a really easy way to come closer to another culture. So my children are always in a way like the communicators with the local culture. Like they go to school, they bring their friends down. They are the one that, in a way, help me to get closer to your culture. Yeah.
Ava first settled down in Hoi An in 2005. She and her husband has 2 daughters, 11-year-old Ocean and 6-year-old Sky, who have both grown up very much immersed in the Vietnamese culture. Ocean and Sky are accompanying their mother today to visit Durong village. The family has somewhat become close relatives to the villagers here. The children know their way around Durong quite well.
Dạ, tên con là Osan và con năm nay 11 tuổi. Con đến đây rất nhiều lần mà con không biết đếm bao nhiêu. Khi con đến đây là con thích đi lanh quanh ở đây và chơi với các bạn, với lại đi xuống đây những món nấu ăn của các cô rất ngon. Con thích nhất là món gà. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. When I come to the village, I like the house. When I'm going here, I like to hang out with my friends, and there's cute doggies. Somebody let me take
Your family also has a very close contact and relationship with the village here. I mean, your children have been coming here since a very young age. How is that relationship formed?
I do think, due to my children, we have even a closer relationship because we're all women. We all work together, and they were all working with their children together. So when I brought my little ones, when they were like maybe 2-3 years old, and also crawling over the looms, their children were crawling over the looms. We felt this kind of, we're all mothers, we're all women, and we do something amazing together. So it feels like it's a very close relationship. Yeah, it is. It's. I miss them when I haven't been there for a long time, and I get sometimes a phone call. Ava, where are you? Why you don't come to the mountains? Like it's really, no, it's special. It's very special. Yeah.
Nói chung thì lúc cô Ava cô đi lên thì mấy chị em cũng rất là mừng được. Thấy cô Ava cũng không phân biệt được mình, thấy mình cũng như chị em ở trong này, thấy là cũng như ở trong làng như chị em mình thôi. Cô cháu hỏi mấy chị em ôm nhau rồi chia sẻ mọi công việc.
Cô Ava cũng không lên đây thì mấy chị ở đây cũng đều nhớ cô Ava, cũng nghĩ là cô Ava cũng ở đây miết, ở nhóm dịch của mình miết. Dù cô Ava ở Hội An mà hình ảnh của cô Ava cũng vẫn lưu lại trong nhóm dịch của mấy chị.
As evening comes, the villagers gather around the main communal house for a mini celebration. the Gong Music and Dance Group performed the traditional thie dance, a dance that in their culture prays for good prosperity and bumper harvests.
Cô Ava đến đây rất nhiều, từ xưa đến bây giờ. Cô Ava đến đây là cứ múa, mỗi một lần là múa cồng chiêng, đúng. Mỗi lần cô Ava đến là cứ múa cồng chiêng hết, là bà con cứ tập trung đầy đủ. Cô cũng mang những đứa con của cô nữa, và bà con cũng rất là vui, rất là mừng.
Besides the gong and dance culture, the local handicraft of the weaving is not the only feature that has changed the lives of the people living here.
So how have you seen the village life kind of develop over the years?
I think the biggest element is the entry of the tourism in this area, and especially to the village of Derong. So having the outlet on the main street makes the people or the tourists curious, so they will maybe stop more and more, and then slowly the villagers invite them to see around the village. They will live for them some time to stay over in the village. They have beautiful homestays, have walks with the children through the small little paths down the mountains, up the mountains. So no, it's changing a lot. You feel more, sometimes a motorbike come up the road. So they have a bigger relationship now with other cultures as well. Yeah.
Tourism is slowly being developed in the village as the part of the Dongzang district's initiative to develop community tourism for ethnic villages. Gotu villagers make up more than 70% of the entire population of the district.
Ở đây thì có ví dụ khách đi qua đêm, ở đây có ăn trưa, ăn tối, ăn sáng. Ở đây có ngủ nhà dân, ngủ hai nhà homestay với lại nhà gươn. Mong muốn của tôi nói chung là để khách lên nhiều hơn và trong làng, trong thôn đón khách vui tươi.
With various different initiatives, the local Gotu people of the Drong village are not only trying to improve their livelihoods, they are also promoting and keeping their culture alive.
How have you seen the women and their skills and their way of working develop over the years?
First of all, they got much more professional on the paperwork, because they have to make invoices and everything. So that was really, it's very impressive how they picked up responsibility, learn how to package the items that had to be sent down from the mountains to Hoi An. But what I find really interesting is that I saw in the beginning that it was more the women around the age 30, 35 that were part of the group. And I think the younger one were looking a bit like, oh, it's for the other generation, we want to do something else. And now slowly you see that there are like a few younger weavers in the group. So for me to see that they start to see that their tradition has a future or has options to keep on going generation after generation, I think that's really very special for me to see that it's like, that it stays there. It will stay in the mountains for many more years, we hope. Yeah.
Yes. How have you seen this whole process of the Gotu people in the Drone village being able to introduce their work outside to develop a business? How has that helped their community?
It's still a bit of lacking for them the know-how to come down from the mountains and sell their own purchases, to do their own business. So it's really us going to the mountains and them selling in the mountains their products. So there is maybe there a little bit more training needed, and maybe this younger generation can pick up a role there, like they're traveling more or more used to come to Hoi An or Da Nang. So there is still, it's still like they're still remote in many ways. So it's up to us and to the visitors to support them and to set up productions or to buy their items in the mountains.
Yes. Why do you think it is so important to keep such a business running in the long run for the community?
I think in the first place it started from their culture. So they're able, because of this project, to show the world their identity as one of these many beautiful minorities in Vietnam. So they are able to express themselves through their crafts. Of course, the fact that it's a sustainable business, it also gives them this extra income. So it makes them also being part of an economical community. So that makes it also, that makes it a chance that it will survive for many, many more years. Yeah.
In the years to come, you know, what are some of your future plans?
At the moment, I really would love that Da Nang concept store will kick off. We are busy with a little bit import-export, so it's something that we are trying to develop. So in the first place, exporting some of the clothing that we are designing. I'm traveling now to Europe in June, and I will go to Portugal and Belgium and other places in Europe to see if there is a market to do the wholesale and to do the export. So it will happen, but slowly, slowly, slowly.
Yes. Over the years, looking back, what do you think has been kind of the motivating factor that has kept you here in Vietnam for so long?
The feeling of possibilities, the feeling I find everybody here feels like, oh my God, we can do things. Like so many Vietnamese open new stores, new activities. There is always this movement here. And here there is this kind of inventivity and creativity to find a solution for every issue. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Ava, for joining us, Aldegonde. And we wish you all of the best of luck, along with the Cơ tu community, in you know, creating wonderful, rare, unique pieces, and through that, promoting the culture of local craftsmanship here in Vietnam.
Okay, thank you for this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that has also wrapped up our edition of Talk Vietnam, seeing the combination of how local craftsmanship can be brought to a new level through beautiful, unique pieces of fashion under the hands of a creative Belgian designer, Ava. We thank you for joining us. We'll see you more next time here on Talk Vietnam. Goodbye.